What's going on, traders? Time for a daily recap. Today is February 20th, 2019. As always, a little housekeeping first. If you like what you see here, please share it. Keep me motivated to keep doing these. If you like them, you find value, share them with people on your social media. That's what motivates me to continue doing them. I'm going to talk about Netflix today, how I traded it, what I did right, what I did wrong. I'm going to show you a nice setup today. I'm going to show you what I think is going to happen in the market. We'll go over some of the live trading and lots of good stuff today. So let's get into the live trading. So anyway, everything right now, looking at the charts, we're slightly green. You know, it's looking like a nice bull run today. The Qs are kind of making me nervous getting this rip pre-market, but it could very easily continue to break out. So, but it's going to be a little bit, I'm a little bit skeptical, especially since Netflix just hit our mark, right? It just hit our 365. If this thing gets over yesterday's high, we're going to have us a nice bull run, and we're already hitting it in pre-market. So just sucks. I would love to see this thing just right now completely panic and sell off back into the red green. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking to really close here on this pop to be getting some puts. All right, so let's see how it did play out. I'm going to start here with the Netflix, the one that because I'm going to start with the chart that I posted, the mistake that I made. You can see where I got in here and I took it off here. It actually executed here. And let me explain to you what the thought process was. You can see I bought it right here and I got a nice entry. I got a nice low bottom take entry. It was beautiful. Come up here and tested. I had profit here. I had almost $1 on my contracts. No, that's an exaggeration. I had about 50 cents. It wasn't enough to excite me. I think I was up almost $1,000 bucks, but that's not what I was looking for. We hadn't really even tested the 20. You know, I was shooting for at least this 364. It was still looking pretty strong. Even right here, it was still looking pretty strong. When it did panic, it happened really quick. And by then, you know, there's no sense in getting out there, right? So here, it just wasn't quite enough. I was looking for at least the 364 test, pop through the 20 MA, give me, you know, a good $1,000 bucks, $1,100 bucks, something like that. And I just wasn't quite there. So it just didn't get my target. So I didn't pull the trigger. And then when it broke down quick. So I wanted to share this with you because I'm not just getting out here. I'm looking at this as a potential, you know, dead cat bounce. We get this, and right here. And so I have a stop. I'm looking to stop out if we get under this, and that's exactly what this was. So I was actually had a stop placed, you know, right under the $3 mark. I would say it was probably like 275 is where I had it the stop placed. And of course, I place it higher so that with slippage, especially on options, it's like selling into weakness. You know, when you're selling into weakness, you're always going to get a crap fill. And as you can see, I pretty much bottom ticked the fill. But that was to be expected because it actually happened when I left my desk. I put in a hard stop when I left my desk for like 280, I think, 279. Left a hard stop in place, got up from my desk. Sure enough, came back right as I got back in here. It was stopping me out. Well, it had already triggered my stop, and I got a bottom fill. So it's just the nature of the beast. But it's the right thing to do, right? It was the right thing to do is to stop out on this because it didn't work. So let's take a look at Netflix. See this right here? Look at this. Now, this isn't a coincidence. I didn't just draw this line here. Why did I have this line here? Because it's the same thing as, where's it at? Right here. Because it's this line right here. So look at Netflix on the daily. This is a beautiful setup. Today, all we did was dip back into this mark right here, this line on the chart for the daily. It's running out of time. It's squeezing. As you can see, this is what I'm looking at today. And today's the day we broke out just a little bit over this gap, right? We got a nice big, we got the gap closed here, and we got a nice big open space. This thing wants to get back to this 380 area. Nice big open space. If we can just get through the gap close area right here. So basically, the 365 is key. Today's high, if we can get over that, this thing has got some move. It wants 380 bad, a 380 magnet, hard. It's running out of time. I thought today was the day, and that's why I held on this. I thought today was the day, and then maybe one more day. I mean, I will be really surprised if this thing doesn't pop tomorrow, one way or the other. If the market allows, it's going to pop up. If the market doesn't allow, I wouldn't be surprised. But you see how tight it's getting? It's running out of time. I will be very surprised if this doesn't break out tomorrow. And if it doesn't tomorrow, it's got to by Friday. It's just out of time, you know, or it's going to completely, you know, just sit here and chop and consolidate in here. That's always a possibility. But the odds are this thing's going to rip, or it's going to fall apart tomorrow or the next day at the most. So I'm pretty excited about Netflix. It was a great dip buy opportunity right here, right into my mark here at 355, right into the trend line. So we're pretty set up for tomorrow. NVIDIA is one that made my day. I ended up red overall with Netflix. I got some nice positions going into tomorrow though. NVIDIA was nice right off the bat, dip right into the 20, got me some long on this. This was a nice home run here. I mean, it was a big trade for me. Made some good money on it. I had the 160 strike and I had the 157.5 strike on this. So I did really well on this all the way up. Right here, we got this, you know, I got out completely. I got all out completely as it was kind of pennant here. I thought, you know what, let's let it pull back into this area and I'll get back in. Popped, didn't even come down, came back up and popped in this area. And I was talking about what a nice short this could be, but I didn't want to give anything back. I just let her be, let it ride. Had a nice day. And sure enough, you look at it, and sure enough, it ended up to be a pretty good short. But I didn't want to get into a trade right before I'm headed out to the gym and have to manage it in the gym or sit at my desk for another hour managing a trade. It's not worth it to me. So I didn't take it. Anyways, nice day on NVIDIA. You know, what do I think about that? Where is it going to go? Well, as you can see, NVIDIA's got some huge gaps to fill. It's got to get over this candle here before it can even start. There's a gap magnet. That's what I call it, a gap magnet. You got this 172 area. You got it right in here. It's drawing this thing up. If it can crack over this, and look at that gap it's got to fill, right? So if this market can break out and not fall apart, and this thing can keep holding up this nice little, you know, ascending wedge here that's going on, nice 5 MA, riding the 5 MA, just keep grinding, keep grinding. I think we're going to get a breakout if we can get up over this. So right now, today, it looks like that was a big sell-off. It looks like it, but it's not. It's just like Netflix. You know, if you can back things out and look at the big picture, right? Look at the big picture. This is nothing. This didn't break anything. This isn't a big sell-off. Sure, there was money to be made on the short side, but as you can see, I mean, there was money to be made, no doubt about it. I'm not trying to deny that, but I'm saying, as you can see, look at the big picture. This thing is on a grind. Which side of this do you want to be on working a core for the long term? I want to be on the long side. So until we actually break down some key levels, then, you know, something like this, and I want to be on the short side. On this, I want to be on the long side, right? Working a core on the long side. So that's what I'm looking at right here. I think NVIDIA has really good potential to break out, but it's all going to come down to the market, right? What's the market going to do? So let's stop here and we'll get into that next. So what do I think overall the market's going to do? Well, I think today was a big deal. The Fed meeting, the Fed minutes, you know, caused that little rip, and then that was it, right? Then it petered out. But what did it do? Look, it hit my target. It pulled that magnet, right? This is the gap close area right here. See the gap between here and here? Got this nice big breakdown candle here. We had a gap to fill. What did it do? Let's see what that gap is. The close on that, 279.30. The high, 278.92. I mean, within 30 cents, it has closed the gap. So for all intents and purposes, in my opinion, it closed the gap today. And then it pulled back and it closed over the 278. Sorry, it closed over the 278.37 mark, right? Just barely, by pennies, right? What does that? Well, to me, what does that mean? Is that a big deal? To me, it's a big deal. Today was huge. Even though the Fed minutes didn't really cause anything to happen, we closed the gap and we held up. So now the question is, I said it yesterday, what's the ideal thing for me? What's the ideal short? What's the nice lowest risk where I think this market could fall apart? Which, let me rephrase that. What would be the ideal short for me? Would be a gap up, some pop into this area for a short. Just hitting these marks, hitting these targets is not what's going to make this market fall apart, okay? Get that, like, stop listening to all the bears. I don't care if it hits this, this is not what's going to reverse this market. The only thing that's going to reverse this market, the only thing that's going to cause it is people selling. There has to be a lot of selling. That is the only thing that's going to move this market, not some mark on a chart. This market is not going to fall apart until key levels are broken. So you're going to come up and test this. Yes, that's a nice low risk entry on the short. If I'm wrong, I can at least get some profit on the pullback. I would expect a pullback back into this area, right? I would expect a pullback. So even if I'm wrong and the market doesn't fall apart, I have a potential to take profit here, right? If it does break this level, we're going to get some selling. If it breaks this level, we're going to get some more selling. If it breaks this level, we're going to get some more selling. If it breaks this level, we're going to get some more selling. You see how that works to it? And if we break this here, we've got some room. And you can see if we can get over this here, we're going to the top of this breakdown candle. It's going to be like a magnet. It's going to be like a magnet, just like Netflix. There's no stopping it. If we can get over these levels right here, there's no stopping it. If we can get over that, we're going to be testing all-time highs. If we can get over that, so I'm not saying it's going to happen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying likely we come up, gap down, we pull back. If we don't break this level on a reject, and we don't do a hard reject like this, and we don't break this level quick like you're seeing right here, if we come down and test this and hold this area right in here, even this area here, the bulls are still in charge. If, one more scenario, if this thing keeps grinding, it's just grinding. See how it's grinding up, grinding up. I do not like to short a grind, ever. I do not like shorting grinds. Right here, you get a nice gap up, you get a nice decent sized candle. It's a good short, right? That's the kind of stuff I like to short into. I want to see some strength. If this thing can't rip into this right here, I'm not touching this thing short. If we keep testing and grinding, testing and grinding, testing and grinding all the way to here, and this sucker just pulls back a little bit, consolidates, it's gonna rip to new highs, right? I think the only way this is gonna fall apart is if we gap up quick, rip. And right now, all this price action, everything that we got going on here looks really familiar to this right here. It looks awfully familiar. Look at the volume on all this. You know, I get people ask me, what about the volume? Look at that low volume. We need volume to come in. Do we need volume to come in here to get to all-time highs? This is the lowest volume of all. Did we need volume to get in? No. The volume came in here. The volume came in here. All these people piled in here. These people are going to bail if we get under it. And what happened? They all bailed. People that this volume right here bailed here, right?